There is so much good news, so much winning out of the Trump White House right now that the mainstream legacy media can't keep up with it.
Bang, Rowan, I couldn't do that at 27. No nonsense, straight to the point, courage, detail.
Imagine a 27-year-old from a small New Hampshire town, raised scooping ice cream and cheering at softball games, stepping onto the world's biggest political stage. Now picture her staring down a room of seasoned reporters, trading barbs with CNN and sparking headlines that ripple from X to late-night TV. That's Karoline Leavitt, the youngest White House press secretary in history, a name you can't escape if you've scrolled X or flipped on the news in 2025. Her rise is meteoric, her controversies are electric, and whispers about her future are already buzzing. Is she the conservative answer to AOC or a lightning rod for chaos? Buckle up, because this story isn't just about a press secretary. It's about a young woman shaking the foundations of power, one podium at a time. Slam that like button if you're ready for the truth behind her headlines, and subscribe. To stay ahead of the next political bombshell, let's dive in. Karoline Leavitt didn't start with a silver spoon or a political dynasty. Born in 1997 in Atkinson, New Hampshire, she was the youngest of 4 kids in a family that ran a seasonal ice cream stand and a used truck dealership. Think small-town grit, not DC glamour. Her parents, Bob and Erin, didn't go to college, but they instilled a fierce work ethic and Catholic values, faith, family, and public service. Growing up, Fox News hummed in the background, shaping her worldview. At Central Catholic High School in Massachusetts, she was a star softball player, earning all-star nods in 2014 and 2015. But her real passion was media. She and her brother would record fake newscasts on a family camcorder, dreaming of the anchor desk. At Saint Anselm College, she majored in communications, minored in political science, and landed a softball scholarship. She interned at Fox News, soaking up the fast-paced world of broadcast, but it was a 2016 op-ed where she called the press frankly crooked. That hinted at the firebrand she'd become. Her life seemed set for a quiet climb until a certain golden-haired mogul changed everything. But that wasn't the whole story. At just 20, Karoline scored a White House internship in Trump's first term, writing letters in the correspondence. Office. Stunned to be chosen, she caught the eye of Kayleigh McEnany, Trump's final press secretary, who hired her as an assistant press secretary in 2019. Sharp, professional, enterprising, McEnany called her, and Karoline didn't disappoint. She prepped McEnany for high-pressure briefings and learned to spar with what she called the biased mainstream media. When Trump lost in 2020, she didn't fade away. She became communications director for Reverend Elise Stefanik, a Trump ally, now tapped for UN ambassador. At 23, Karoline made a bold move. She ran for Congress in New Hampshire's 1st District. Her campaign, launched from her dad's truck dealership, was pure MAGA. Lower taxes, pro-police, anti-CRT, and a hardline stance on immigration. She stunned skeptics by winning the 2022 Republican primary, outpacing older rivals like Matt Mowers. Though she lost to Democrat Chris Pappas, her grit caught Trump's attention. He met her at Mar-a-Lago in 2022, sizing up the young star. "We'll keep watching," he said. And he did. Her next move would shock everyone. By 2024, Karoline was Trump's national press secretary for his 3rd presidential run, a role that thrust her into the spotlight. At 26, she was a fixture on Fox News, Breitbart, and Newsmax, delivering fiery defenses of Trump's policies. She called his legal battles a witch hunt, orchestrated by Biden, and slammed Democrats as elitists, ignoring everyday Americans. Her style was relentless, combative, polished, and unapologetic. In June 2024, she made waves by walking off a CNN interview, accusing anchors Dana Bash and Jake Tapper of bias ahead of Trump's debate. The clip went viral, with MAGA fans cheering her defiance and critics blasting her as unprofessional. The campaign trail, she shadowed Trump at rallies and court appearances, earning his trust. When he won in November 2024, he named her White House press secretary, making her the youngest ever at 27, surpassing Ronald Ziegler's record from 1969. Her appointment wasn't just historic, it was a declaration of war on the old media guard. And what happened next would set the internet ablaze. January 28, 2025. The James S. Brady press briefing room was packed as Karoline stepped to the podium for her first briefing. "Good afternoon, everybody," she said, her smile radiant, but her tone steely. At 27, she wasn't there to play nice. She announced a seismic shift. The White House would open its doors to podcasters, influencers, and new media, sidelining traditional outlets. "Americans are consuming news from different platforms, especially young people," she said, leaning into her Gen Z credentials. She vowed to call out legacy media for misinformation, echoing Trump's distrust. Her first question went to Breitbart, a nod to her base. The room buzzed with tension. Reporters pressed her on Trump's early moves, mass deportations, federal grant freezes, but she held her ground, deflecting with practiced ease. Off stage, she prayed with her team for confidence, a ritual that drew both admiration and eye rolls. Her debut was smooth but not flawless. She claimed $50 million in taxpayer funds were earmarked for condoms in Gaza, a statement Snopes later debunked as false. The misstep fueled critics, but her fans didn't care. She was their voice, and the drama was just beginning. Karoline's podium wasn't just a platform, it was a battlefield. In February 2025, she announced the White House would control the press pool, a break from tradition that sparked outrage. The Associated Press sued after being barred from events over a naming dispute. Trump's team insisted on calling the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. Karoline told AP's Zeke Miller the ban would hold until they complied, a move that landed her in the lawsuit Associated Press versus Buttigieg. Critics called it censorship. Supporters saw it as leveling the playing field. Then came the campaign finance scandal. Federal Election Commission filings revealed she failed to refund $210,115 in donations from her 2022 congressional run, a lapse she didn't disclose for 2 years. New Hampshire Public Radio flagged it as an ethical red flag, questioning her integrity as Trump's mouthpiece. On X, hashtags like Idar Karoline Karma and Media Reckoning trended, with some accusing her of grift, others praising her as a victim of liberal attacks. Her false Gaza claim resurfaced, with Snopes noting she'd spread other debunked rumors, like exaggerated immigration stats. Yet her base stood firm, calling her a truth teller in a sea of lies. But the spotlight wasn't just on her words, it was on her life. Off the podium, Karoline's personal story was as polarizing as her politics. In July 2024, she gave birth to her son Nico with her husband, Nicholas Riccio, a real estate developer 32 years her senior. They met during her congressional campaign, got engaged in 2023, and married days before Trump's 2025 inauguration. "It's an atypical love story, but he's incredible," she told Megyn Kelly in February 2025. A May 2025 photo of her feeding Nico while typing on her laptop went viral, dubbed the Power Mom moment. Supporters called it inspiring. Detractors saw it as a staged PR stunt. Her return to work 3 days after giving birth, prompted by an assassination attempt on Trump, fueled debate. "I looked at my husband and said, 'Looks like I'm going back,'" she told the Conservateur. On X, some hailed her as a role model. Others whispered she was a pawn in Trump's game, her loyalty bought by power. Her age gap marriage raised eyebrows, with trolls speculating about Riccio's influence. Was she a devoted wife and mother, or a calculated player? The truth was murkier, and the rumors were louder. By spring 2025, Karoline wasn't just a press secretary, she was a cultural flashpoint. Political strategists quietly floated her as a 2028 contender, with one campaign source telling Politico, "She's got the platform, the fire, the base." Her youth, charisma, and Trump's blessing drew comparisons to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, earning her the nickname Conservative AOC on X. But her critics were relentless. The Washington Post called her briefings righteous if a bit smug, noting her tendency to echo Trump's exaggerations. Poynter criticized her combative debut, warning it reset the hostile dynamic of Trump's first term. Her prayer ritual sparked debate, devout faith or performative optics. On TikTok, influencers dissected her every move, while YouTube channels churned out deep dives on her scandals. Supporters saw a star rising, Detractors saw a loyalist blind to Trump's flaws. Her campaign finance mess and false claims hung over her, yet her base shrugged them off. Was she the future of the GOP, a Gen Z trailblazer rewriting politics, or a fleeting figure destined to burn out in Trump's shadow? One thing was clear. She wasn't slowing down. So here we are at the edge of a new political era with Karoline Leavitt at its center. From a New Hampshire ice cream stand to the White House podium, she's defied odds, sparked fury, and captured a generation's attention. Her story isn't just about a 27-year-old press secretary. It's about power, ambition, and a media landscape fracturing under pressure. She's clashed with CNN, dodged lawsuits, and weathered scandals, all while balancing motherhood and a marriage that raises questions. Her fans see a hero, her critics a hypocrite, and the truth? It's somewhere in the chaos. She's made history, but at what cost? Is she the voice of a new conservative wave, or a cautionary tale of loyalty gone too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Karoline's the future, or a flashpoint for division? Smash that like button if you believe accountability's finally hitting the media, and subscribe to catch her next move. Share this with someone who thinks politics is still the same old game because Karoline Leavitt just rewrote the rules. Stay loud, stay tuned. Her story's far from over.